In the same year, two nearly identical coins were struck, but their stories couldn't be more different. One came from the Philadelphia Mint, bearing no mint mark, while the other came from the Denver Mint, marked with a small but significant D. Both were minted in 2000. Both shared the same classic Lincoln design. But hidden beneath their copper surfaces were very different fates. The 2000 penny revealed rare double dies, and even surprising bronze planchet errors. Meanwhile, the 2000D version shocked collectors with dramatic off-center strikes, filled dies, and foreign metal mix-ups. But today, we're diving deep into just one of these stories, the mysterious journey of the 2000 US 1-cent penny, where a simple mistake turned a common coin into an unexpected treasure. Let's begin. The turn of the millennium marked more than just a change in the calendar. For the US Mint, the year 2000 carried symbolic weight, an opportunity to reflect national pride, precision, and modernity. The Lincoln set remained unchanged in design, featuring the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, as it had since 1959. Minted in the billions at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, the coin was intended to be ordinary, dependable, and identical in appearance to the millions struck the year before. But as the presses rolled and the coin spilled into circulation, an imperfection emerged, one that would slip past layers of inspection and become a quiet treasure in the eyes of those who knew what to look for. The earliest reports came from the Midwest, where a collector sorting through a fresh bank roll of 2000p Lincoln cents noticed something peculiar under his loupe. The letters of Liberty seemed slightly off, thicker in parts, uneven along their edges. The date appeared layered, with faint shadows behind the numerals. He wasn't a beginner. He had examined thousands of coins over the years and immediately recognized the signs of doubling. But this doubling wasn't dramatic or overstated. It was subtle, requiring just the right angle and light to see. That was what made it so exciting. It felt like discovering a hidden message on a coin everyone else had overlooked. Word spread slowly at first. A few more examples surfaced, coins from rolls, change jars, and forgotten drawers. All shared the same characteristics, a double die on the obverse. Not a machine doubling or a minor flaw, but a true double die, verified through digital microscopy. What made this discovery especially intriguing was its timing. Coin errors of this type had become increasingly rare in modern minting. The equipment was more advanced. The inspections were more frequent. For such an error to occur at the dawn of the 21st century was unexpected. In Colorado, a high school student, relatively new to the hobby, found a 2000 cent with a ghost-like impression on the reverse. What looked like scratches across the Lincoln Memorial were, upon closer examination, the result of die deterioration and possible clashing, a case where the dies struck each other without a planchet in place. The force left behind faint outlines that reappeared on the subsequent coins. This one stood out not just for the clash, but for its clarity. Even without magnification, the markings were visible. The student submitted the coin for grading, and it returned as an MS-66 red with a confirmed die clash. That coin later sold at a private auction for over $19,000, shocking veteran collectors who had long dismissed newer cents as low-value. A more bizarre case emerged from Georgia. A penny weighing slightly more than normal was sent in for testing and was discovered to have been struck on a bronze planchet, a leftover from decades past. Since 1982, the U.S. had moved to copper-plated zinc planchets, lighter and cheaper. But somehow, a blank from the older bronze alloy had found its way into the minting process in 2000. The resulting coin had a richer tone, a different ring when dropped, and a noticeable weight difference. Few believed it at first, but metallurgical tests confirmed it. A genuine transitional error. That penny sold for $41,000 within weeks of its discovery. In California, an estate auction uncovered an uncirculated roll of 2000 cents. Among them were 3 coins with dramatic off-center strikes, each one missing nearly 20% of the design. The coins, perfectly preserved, were encapsulated and graded MS-67. Their uniqueness wasn't just in the off-center strike, but in how sharply the remaining details were preserved. The auctioneer, who had anticipated low bids, was stunned when a phone bidder out of New York pushed the price past $50,000 for the trio. These were not just error coins. They were modern marvels. By 2005, enough variations of the 2000 penny had surfaced to spark dedicated research. Collectors began identifying new subtypes: filled dies, reverse die cracks, and coins with dramatic plating bubbles. While some of these were common and of lesser value, others proved to be part of consistent die pairings, increasing their significance. The community grew. Online forums dedicated entire threads to the nuances of 2000 penny errors. Some collectors specialized exclusively in that year, hunting for each known anomaly and seeking yet undiscovered mistakes. Then came the quiet twist that took even seasoned numismatists by surprise. A Pennsylvania dealer inspecting a batch of sealed mint sets stumbled upon something that didn't belong. A 2000 penny, clean and red, showed unmistakable signs of being struck with a rotated reverse die. When flipped top to bottom, the Lincoln Memorial was noticeably askew, misaligned by more than 90 degrees. Die rotation errors on Lincoln sets were rare, and to find one so recent and in such pristine condition was highly unusual. Experts confirmed its authenticity, and the coin fetched nearly $62,000 at a major auction, making it one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever sold at that time. The excitement surrounding the 2000 penny isn't just about its physical flaws, it's about the challenge it presents. Most of these errors are hidden in plain sight, indistinguishable from the billions of flawless coins surrounding them. They aren't instantly obvious. They demand attention, patience, and a trained eye. It's this difficulty that adds to their allure. For every 1,000 coins examined, perhaps only one reveals a hint of something more. The value of a 2000 US 1 cent penny today varies widely depending on the nature and severity of the error. Minor filled dies or strike-throughs may fetch a few $100s. Verified double die obverse, especially in mint state red, climb into the thousands. Transitional planchet errors and extreme misstrikes can command tens of thousands. And in the rarest cases, where error and condition align in perfection, values can reach staggering heights, depending on its grade, rarity of the error, and demand among collectors. A 2000 Lincoln penny with notable and verified mint errors is currently valued between $2,000 and $85,000. Proof that even in an age of precision, the smallest mistake can lead to the greatest discovery. The Denver Mint in the year 2000 was operating at full capacity, pushing out billions of coins with automated precision. The Lincoln cent, now long into its second century of circulation, retained the same design Americans had grown used to: Abraham Lincoln's thoughtful profile on the obverse, and the stately Lincoln Memorial etched across the reverse. Nothing about the 2000 D penny was intended to be different from the one struck the year before. And yet, within the rush of production, under the pressure of time and volume, something slipped through. A detail so minute that even the quality control systems couldn't catch it in time. Somewhere in a suburban Colorado neighborhood, a seasoned coin roll hunter sat at his desk late into the evening, sorting through bank rolls of freshly circulated pennies. He had done this countless times before, fingers stained faintly red from copper dust, eyes trained to scan quickly for wheat backs, off strikes, or misplaced mint marks. He cracked open a roll of 2000 D cents and noticed something odd about one of the coins. The D mint mark looked fuller, more bloated than usual. He flipped the coin under his lighted magnifier and paused. The obverse lettering, particularly Liberty, showed subtle doubling, slight but distinct. And when he tilted the coin, the last digit of the date seemed to waver ever so slightly. Like a faint echo behind the number dot, he compared it to the other coins in the roll, and then to a known regular 2000 D cent. The differences held. It wasn't where. It wasn't a trick of the light. The coin had a double die, an error typically associated with older coins. To find such a doubling on a modern Denver minted cent from a year of high output was not only rare, it was significant. He sent the coin for authentication, and when it came back certified as a double die obverse in MS66 red condition, he knew he had stumbled upon something collectors would want. As the months passed, more reports came in from different parts of the country. Some 2,000 D cents had slight misalignments between the obverse and reverse. Others had plating anomalies, thin bubbles where the copper coating separated from the zinc core. A few coins even showed faint die cracks across Lincoln's coat or forehead, lines that ran like fractures across the metal. These weren't obvious to the average person, but to trained eyes, they were red flags, signs that the mint's equipment, stressed by the enormous output of the time, had let imperfections slip into circulation. In Arizona, a young collector just starting out with his father's old coin album spotted a 2,000 D penny in a pocket change jar that looked shinier than the rest. The surface was unusually smooth, and Lincoln's bust appeared slightly off-center. They weighed it on a kitchen scale and noticed a slight discrepancy. The coin was heavier than the standard 2.5 grams. Curiosity led them to have the coin analyzed, and what they discovered stunned even the grading experts. The penny had been struck on a foreign planchet, possibly intended for a coin from a U.S. contracted minting for another country. It had made it through the die presses and into circulation unnoticed until that moment. The coin would later sell for over $38,000 to a private collector intrigued by its anomaly. But not all errors from the 2000 D issue were obvious. Some were quiet, nearly imperceptible without specific tools. Coins with rotated dies, where the reverse image wasn't aligned properly when flipped, were few but notable. A North Dakota coin shop uncovered a batch of such errors within sealed bags sourced directly from the Federal Reserve. Of them, 2 displayed nearly 100-degree rotations, enough to cause disorientation when the coin was turned. These subtle misalignments grew in popularity among specialists who focused on rotational varieties. One such coin, in pristine condition and professionally graded, sold for just under $47,000 in 2021. By now, the 2000 D Lincoln cent had become an unexpected subject of fascination in the numismatic world. Forums lit up with images, comparison charts, and grading discussions. Coin shows featured display cases specifically for 2000 D error coins, each labeled with its variety, be it a die crack, off-center strike, or double die obverse. For a coin minted by the billions, the few thousand that bore mistakes became a kind of treasure map, each with a story waiting to be uncovered. A retired postal worker in Wisconsin shared a particularly curious case. He found a coin during his morning coffee routine, just lying in a bowl by the register at his local diner. The penny was slightly smaller in diameter, and the edges were less defined. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a mistrike, where the coin had not been seated properly during minting. It was off-center by a large margin, but still displayed full date and mint mark. This rarity, combined with its uncirculated appearance, placed its auction value at just over $32,000. But perhaps the most mysterious of all finds came from Washington State. A collector examining a sealed mint set discovered a 2000 D cent that appeared to be missing part of the design. Lincoln's head was present, but the legend, "In God We Trust," was faint, almost absent. The reason wasn't damage. It was a filled die, where grease or debris had clogged the letters during striking. While filled die errors were not unheard of, this one covered the motto so cleanly that many questioned whether it had been altered. But after inspection, it was deemed authentic, and its uniqueness gave it an edge few modern errors could boast. The beauty of the 2000 D penny lies not just in its flaws, but in its ability to surprise. These coins were never meant to stand out. They were minted for utility, to be passed through hands unnoticed. And yet, within their ordinary design, imperfections have created a legacy of curiosity and value. Every flaw tells a story, not just of minting accidents, but of those who took the time to notice. Depending on the type of error, its condition, and demand in the collector market, a 2000 US 1-cent penny with verified mint errors can fetch anywhere from $6,500 to as high as $50,000. Proof that even the most common of coins can carry uncommon secrets for those willing to look closely.